Welcome to the RadioU Podcast. I'm Hudson.
And I'm Allie.
Coming up, is Australia's teen social media ban working at all?
Also, does voting help you live longer?
All that and more on the way next. McDonald's has announced their next new Happy Meal collab, 8772 RadioU. The talkback button in the new RadioU app. And this one is yet again with Netflix.
Oh.
Teaming up with Netflix again. And this is just a regular Happy Meal, not like an adult Happy Meal.
Okay.
So you do have to pretend to be a child if you want to get this. But McDonald's is teaming up with Netflix for a new Stranger Things themed Happy Meal that launches next week, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
Oh.
That includes collectible characters from Stranger Things. That's the toy. There's 12 of them.
Wow.
That's a lot to collect. You're going to have to get a lot of Happy Meals.
Yeah, that's a lot of meals. How long is this meal going to be around for?
Usually, I mean, what do you think? Like a month or two? It doesn't actually say, right, when it ends, but
I don't know.
It says a limited time while supplies last.
Okay.
Your McDonald's may vary.
Yeah, maybe a month or two is pretty spot on. Depends on how well it does.
Yeah, because this is going to be the beginning of May, and then you think like, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there's going to be a couple of big movies coming out this summer.
Yeah.
McDonald's is going to have to do a tie-in with that.
Spider-Man.
Right, something like that. So Stranger Things, the food is the same. It's a children's Happy Meal, so it's not like the K-pop Demon Hunters one where there was a new sauce and new stuff. This is just the toys.
Okay.
But it is nice that after all these years, Stranger Things finally gets the McDonald's Happy Meal treatment. It feels fitting.
It does feel fitting, although Stranger Things, the show that was on Netflix, like the show that we all watched, was for adults. Like that show, and maybe like older teens.
Eventually. I think Stranger Things, this is to tie in because of the animated series that just came out, and Tales from 85. But I think if you go back to like the first season or two of Stranger Things, it wasn't like fully for like 8-year-olds. But it was like, that was pretty...
It was more tame.
It had like an ET feel of like it was less than PG-13.
Yeah.
And now, once you got to season 4 and 5, it was very like...
It was R.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but even adults were like, I'm scared sometimes.
No, it was, with the language and everything, 100% they were going hard R. They were going R.
I think it was rated R.
I mean, the amount of times that they were saying... gee darn this and gee darn that. I was getting so annoyed with that. So I think that they fully matured as they went. Like it got more and more, especially with like the horror stuff.
Yeah.
And so when Vecna was introduced and they were breaking bones and all of that. So it got scarier, but I would still say that it was never really meant for kids.
But Stranger Things Tales from 85 definitely is.
Okay. I didn't know that they were making that for kids. So this could be like an introduction to the Stranger Things world for kids. That makes more sense to me because I was like, are we really going to watch a Stranger Things animated show? But if your kids
maybe we will, foreshadowing to the box office breakdown.
Oh, okay. But if it's for your kids, like you could introduce your kids to this world. Like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So, question, Allie, what was the best Happy Meal toy you ever got?
Ever?
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember any Happy Meal toys that I got. I feel like there was one that was like was it called Betty Spaghetti or something? The little dolls that had the like really long stringy hair.
Okay.
I remember having those for a long time, but I don't even remember if that's what that was called.
I'll take your word for that. But I was trying to think too, because it's funny, the other day we were talking about how like Kellogg's was bringing back toys and cereal boxes for Toy Story.
Yeah.
Maybe McDonald's will do a Toy Story Happy Meal.
Maybe.
But we remembered like 5 toys we got in cereal boxes right away. And I feel like toys and Happy Meals used to be better too, but can I remember a lot of the specifics of what I played with, like from toys from Happy Meals growing up? Not as much.
Not really.
Even though I'm sure they were probably better than a lot of the cereal box toys.
Probably, yeah.
If you have a favorite Happy Meal toy from growing up, let us know. 8772. I believe people have them. People collect them.
Yeah.
I just can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah. Betty Spaghetti definitely, I think, was one of them.
We're just talking about how McDonald's is about to introduce a Stranger Things Tales from 85 themed Happy Meal that's coming up next week. And we're thinking, what's the best Happy Meal toy you remember getting as a child? Manny texted in, and he was showing off these. It was McDonald's food that transformed into little characters or vice versa.
Yeah.
I don't remember these.
I had a bunch of these, specifically the fry ones. And what killed me about these is after they got like so old, they became harder and harder to open and transform.
Okay, yeah.
Like it was harder and harder to get them to open to reveal the characters as they got older.
Dang. You can tell these are like pretty classic though, because I'm looking at the chicken nuggets and look at like the
logo,
the branding on that chicken nuggets box. That is, I've never saw that in real life when I was growing up. So that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, I think this would have been from like the 90s and 2000s.
He says,
because I definitely had these.
Did you think you got them at like a Goodwill or like actually getting them in a Happy Meal?
We definitely got them in a Happy Meal. And we had them in our like, you always have like those random toy boxes that are just filled with random toys. We always had a bunch of these in there.
It's interesting because they don't do that much, right?
No, all they do is like you can open them and close them, and then they reveal like a character when you open them up. But I do remember using them as like regular fries or hamburgers or little Happy Meal boxes.
Yeah.
Because I think we had a couple of the little Happy Meal boxes as well. And so you could be like pretending like you had your own little McDonald's store and you were giving out the food.
You know what I'm thinking now of what I remember from McDonald's is not Happy Meal toys, but it's all the glasses that they used to have.
Oh yeah, they used to have
because we had all those
glasses.
Growing up. Yeah, there's different kinds, but like the main ones, and I still have some of these to this day, is those Disney ones that I guess they did for Disney's some kind of anniversary. I don't know what the anniversary was, but it would be like Disney World stuff.
Yeah.
And it was on a glass, and I think that was from McDonald's.
Yep, they used to have a lot of those.
Yeah, and then I remember a couple of years ago, they kind of like brought that back of like trying to play on the nostalgia of like, we're doing cups again. But they weren't glass.
What were they?
My parents got some, and they were like plastic.
Boo!
Yeah, I know. So it's like that. Those aren't going to stand the test of time. I still have these glasses, but they're probably like 30 years old now. That I got at Goodwill. I didn't even get them from McDonald's at this point. But like, because they stand the test of time because they were a cool collectible. Those the cups that my parents got, I don't even know they still have them. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. The plastic doesn't last very long.
No, because the stuff washes off in the dishwasher and stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, the stuff can wash off on the glass too, but it's just a lot easier to take care of the glass than it is the plastic.
Yeah, you just got to try not to break them.
Yeah.
Which apparently, I guess I'm okay at because I haven't broken my McDonald's Disney glasses.
I'm sure there are many that could say the same.
Yeah. We want to hear from you right now at 8772 Radio U, or use the talkback button in the new Radio U app to let us know your playoff panic level in the NBA and or NHL. Allie, the Cavs lost to the Raptors yesterday. That series is now 2-2.
Yeah, it's tied going back to Cleveland.
You're a Cavs fan. What is your playoff panic level, 1 to 10?
It would be more panicky if, like, the Cavs didn't have home court advantage. The home team seems to keep winning. And so if that continues, then Cleveland will win in 7 games, which is not what I want.
Right.
So that part's annoying to me. But as I've said, unfortunately, I'm going to stand by this as much as I would love for the Cavs to have won this series in 5 games.
Yeah.
Win it in 4, whatever. That's obviously not happening. But I believe the East is pretty wide open. And so there are teams in every series that I'm looking at like, yeah, they could win it. They could absolutely win the East.
Yeah. I didn't think the Cavs would have troubles this early just because the Raptors are the most inexperienced playoff team out of all the playoff teams.
Even the Spurs?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. They have almost nobody who's really played any playoff games. And so I was like, well, if the Cavs got a different matchup, I'd be more concerned. But the Raptors, what I didn't account for enough was that the Cavs still have James Harden, who was absolutely atrocious in the second half yesterday.
Falls
of the game.
apart in the playoffs.
The Raptors do see, while it's not the first time he's had big time struggles in the playoffs, the Raptors seem to have found a way to give him extra special troubles to where, not even troubles, just where he seems to give up. Even though it's the playoffs, he's just like, I'm not going to be involved on this one.
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes is going to be on me. And so, yeah, he had almost as many turnovers as assists yesterday. Just not good. And so I think the Raptors have a real chance here. So I'd be pretty high on the panic meter.
I have a feeling that the Cavs will still pull out this series, but I have no idea what they will do in the second series if they get to the second round. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have a feeling they'll still end up beating Toronto. But after that, you never know.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if I was the Celtics right now, I'd just be licking my chops.
Yeah, the Celtics have kind of probably the easiest series of everybody, just because they're facing an unhealthy 76ers team.
Yeah, but they've looked good doing it. And
other than in one game, they didn't look super all together. So Boston's not flawless. I know you and Nene think they are, but they aren't. They're not OKC.
No, definitely not. But OKC's got their injury troubles. So yeah, if I'm the Celtics, I'm feeling good. Meanwhile, in the NHL, my panic level, it's a 1. It's a 1. The Sabres are up 3-1. They just won 6-1 against the Bruins yesterday. The game started at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
I think the Bruins thought it started at 7 because they clearly didn't show up for the first couple hours of the game.
They weren't ready.
But hey, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. We are 1 win away from...
When was the last time the Sabres won a playoff series?
I think they keep saying like 2007 maybe.
2007?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a long time.
So almost 20 years?
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, maybe that's the last 50-win season because they won 50 games this year. But I mean, either way,
it's going to be a celebration in Buffalo.
I haven't been in the playoffs in 15 years.
Or do they get to win at home, like the series at home?
As long as they do it
win
in game
this
5.
next game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's going to be a party. They're maniacs up there.
Yeah, well, if you haven't won a playoff series in 20 years, I would say you deserve to celebrate.
You've never won a cup, and your city's never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They're maniacs. They're going crazy.
They deserve it. They need something to celebrate.
Happy Monday. Thanks for waking up with us here on Radio U. It's time for our Monday tradition, the box office breakdown, looking at what made money and what didn't in theaters over the weekend. Of course, let us know what you've seen lately at 8772-RADIO-U or with the talkback button in the Radio U app. I'll tell you what a lot of people saw. Michael.
Ah, yeah, Michael.
Yeah.
Not our Michael.
No, not Michael the boss. Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
The Michael Jackson movie, Michael. We predicted this. We called this. I mean, it wasn't like, it's not, we're not some kind of geniuses here. All you had to do was look at the show times coming up at your local theater and you'd be like, oh, Michael Jackson's movie is going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Because there was so many show times for it.
Right.
That they don't schedule that many unless
the demand is high.
There.
Right.
And so Michael made $97 million this weekend. That is by far the biggest opening weekend for a musical biopic of all time.
I believe that to be true. Absolutely.
Do you have a guess?
That's like comic book level opening weekend.
Yeah. Do you have a guess what the
previous one was?
Yeah, the previous biggest musical biopic biggest opening weekend.
I'll go with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh. That was third.
Okay.
Or is now third. It came out in 2018. It made $51 million in its opening weekend.
Which, again, would be pretty good for a movie biopic. What about Elvis?
No, I don't see Elvis here in the top 3.
Okay.
I only have the top 3.
The Rocket Man
current
movie?
Top 3. No, that wasn't it either. It was Straight Outta Compton in 2015.
I forgot about that one.
That was huge, though, when that came out.
That was huge, and that was one of the rare ones where both the critics and the audience agreed.
Yes.
So they both liked it.
That wound up making $60 million in its first week.
Okay.
And then you think that was 2015, so like dollars are more now.
Yeah, adjusted for inflation, that was a lot of money.
Yeah, but Michael made in total $217 million worldwide.
Wow.
So yeah, made a lot of money. Number 2 at the box office was the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which made $21 million again. And then Project Hail Mary was number 3, $13 million.
Honestly, now that I look at that total, though, I will say they tell you for the health of a movie, it should be like majority of the money should come from overseas.
Yeah.
And like if you want to, especially if you want to get to like the exclusive $1 billion club.
Right.
And so it does seem that Michael is appealing obviously more to a United States audience. He's still making a decent amount of money overseas. He made $120 million overseas, but you would want a little bit higher percentage there. It's like 55% of the totals are from an international audience. So I wonder if it's just because the appeal is a little bit bigger in the United States than
I think he's
overseas.
pretty big overseas.
That's what
too.
I was thinking too, but it seems like the US audience, if your totals are around the same, that's means it's a bigger hit probably in the United States.
Maybe international audiences are more discerning. Because the reviews were bad. And
maybe they're taking the critics more seriously.
Although I think Super Mario Galaxy still made pretty good money.
Exactly, it did. The kids' movies is a weird one, but if you want your movie to be $1 billion, you need some heavy hitting from overseas. So I don't know if Michael will get there.
I don't think it will, but they also, going back here a few weeks, it says they were projecting initially like 50 to like 70 million at most.
For an opening weekend.
Yeah, for the opening weekend.
Well, it crushed that.
Yeah. We just did the box office breakdown, our Monday tradition, looking at what made money in the theaters this weekend. It was Michael. Michael was number one, $97 million, followed by the Super Mario Galaxy movie and Project Hail Mary. If you saw any of those or something else this weekend, let us know your reviews at 8772-RADIO-U or with the talkback button in the new RadioU app. Allie, what have you seen lately?
So I didn't get to watch really anything this weekend, but I didn't get to talk about this last time because I talked about watching The Mummy. But I just recently rewatched for the first time in a long time, like probably a few years, Monsters, Inc.
Okay, good choice.
Very fun movie. I watched this with my cousins, and it was a reminder of how great that movie is. It's so funny. And I was telling my cousins, I was like, I am always amazed watching that movie, thinking about who came up with this concept.
Yeah.
There's a world where monsters have their own society and their power system is based entirely off of the screams of scared children.
Yeah.
And they have an entire power company where they employ people to go in to said children's bedrooms and scare them at night. I'm like, it must have been a parent that was really going through it with his child, like who is convinced there is a monster under the bed or there's a monster in my closet. And they are just like trying to come up with something to make the child, fall asleep. And then they think of this insane story. So have you also heard of the theory that when the monster's being interviewed, about like when Boo gets out into the city or whatever, and he's like, it picked me up with its mind powers and shook me like a dog. I didn't know this. My cousin Kathy told me this. There's theories out there that somehow the baby from The Incredibles, Jack, got into the Monsters, Inc. world and did that because that's all the powers he has. He can do that stuff with his mind. I've never heard that theory before.
Picked him up like... That Jack got in there and picked it up like a rag doll.
And shook him like a dog.
I guess. I feel like that's a stretch.
Because Boo couldn't do that, obviously.
Yeah. So you just mean at some point. And that's why they're afraid of children?
No, like the guy's being interviewed on the news and he's saying this is what happened to him. And then the other person runs over and it's like, I saw it with my own eyes. And he's got like a million eyes.
So that somehow happened simultaneously.
Yes, there's a fan theory that somehow Jack ended up in the Monsters, Inc. universe and did this while this panic was outbreaking because of Boo. Like, they're two completely unrelated events.
It's definitely possible because all of the Pixar movies are in the same universe.
Connected, yeah.
So I think that it's a possibility.
All right, what did you watch?
I watched two things, both on Netflix, as alluded to in our McDonald's Stranger Things segment. I watched some of Stranger Things Tales from 85.
Okay.
Because we are looking for something, like something lighter to watch. And that popped up. I was like, let's see what this is about. And I was kind of pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
Because it to me harkens back to like what the original Stranger Things season felt like, which is more like old school, like throwback in time.
Yeah.
Like more kind of family friendly. It's definitely meant more for kids, but it's not like an adult is going to be like, oh, this is baby stuff, you know? But it feels kind of like, it kind of has like a DuckTales kind of like, you know, feeling to it, like a Monster of the Week kind of thing, even though all the episodes are connected.
Okay.
So it is kind of hard to square in my mind that like all this would have happened and then not been included in the show.
Sure.
But they did a remarkable job of writing and voicing the characters to actually make them match up, because it's not any of the same people.
Yeah, right. That's what I saw.
The actors from the actual show, but you couldn't probably. I mean, you can tell, but it's really not egregious.
Yeah.
And they write them in a very similar voice too. Like especially Dustin carries a lot of the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that feels like Dustin. Okay. Even though it's different writers too, I'm sure. So
yeah.
I was pretty impressed by that.
All right.
So that was an interesting watch, and I've also in the opposite terms been watching Beef, the new season of Beef.
I don't know what that is.
It's kind of like a Netflix version of White Lotus.
Oh.
Where it's in this new season is these two couples. One is a country club, like he's the manager of a country club, and his wife is, you know, really well to do. And then this other couple that works at the country club, and they get into kind of this argument, and then they kind of flop back and forth between like hating each other and trying to get revenge on each other, and you know, like then seeing the good in each other and like doing favors, but like, are they actually doing favors? And it's really interesting, but they're also like horrible people. But then you see the good side, but then they're horrible. So.
Okay, that does sound like White Lotus. And
that is not family friendly at all. GLP-1s have changed everything. 8772 Radio U or the Radio U app. Use the talkback button. Even buying a wedding dress. As we head into wedding season, I have here how Ozempic and Wegovy, et cetera, are affecting the wedding dress industry.
Okay.
One of the main things you might need to know if you were to buy a wedding dress, if you're trying to get into one, is that you may need to sign a waiver before you actually get your wedding dress, because I guess what's happening is brides are picking out their wedding dress. Mm-hmm. And then they get, you know, their size or whatever. But then they're like, but make it smaller because I'm taking Ozempic.
Before the wedding.
Yeah, so I'll be down to a smaller size. And so what the waivers are, is the wedding dress, you know, whoever's the bridal company.
Yeah.
Saying if you don't get down to the size that you ordered.
Yeah, you claim.
It's not our, you know, like you still have to pay and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, that should be completely on the bride if it didn't work and, you know, you did not get to the size that you wanted to because you were taking a GLP-1. That's not the bridal shop's fault.
Yeah. And I guess it could also go the other way of like maybe you get down too small and now your dress is too big.
Yeah, although you can make adjustments.
It works too well.
Yeah, alterations are normal in wedding dress shopping, so I think that would be the best, not the best case scenario, but like not the worst case scenario if you ended up getting a little bit smaller than anticipated and you need to make some alterations.
I'd count that as a good problem.
I would say so. I think you might be happy with that.
Some of the other things they say that have changed is that brides are much more likely. It's shortened the timeline because they, like, if you're a bride and you're taking Ozempic, you are expecting to lose weight.
So you're waiting longer?
Yeah, so it's making it more likely for people to do rush orders for their dresses, which I guess you're costing yourself extra money. But I mean, weddings are so expensive anyways. What's a few extra $100 or $1,000 or whatever it is to get it rushed? I was out of $1,000 to get it rushed, I guess.
Yeah, I hope it's not that much. I don't
really know.
But a lot of people do. You know, a lot of women do spend quite a bit of money on the dress, you know, because they want to look good. So I understand, you know, dropping a few dollars on that thing.
You should only get to wear it once. So you should, you know, why not look as good as you can and spare no expense?
I mean, that's kind
within reason.
That's kind of my thought process too. There's probably other things I want to spend more money on it though, on more money on, and that would be, you know, like food and a honeymoon and things like that.
Yeah.
So probably not going to spend the most amount of money on the actual wedding dress.
Yeah, it depends what you like, because some people like hand them down, right? You know, you save it.
You'd wear your mom's dress,
right?
Altered
it becomes like a big
something.
Family thing. But at the same time, when I think about things you're going to remember from your wedding, and what other people are going to remember, obviously you want to remember, but you also want to give everybody a good experience. and nobody has ever said at any wedding, wow, the bride's wedding dress did not look good. Like, that doesn't really happen.
No, everybody says you look beautiful.
Why stress over it?
Yeah, I don't think you need to stress, but I do think you should look good in your eyes, you know?
Yeah,
so you should get something that you love and that you look good in and that you feel good in, because you want to feel good on your wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
But I do also love the appeal of keeping a dress that is nice that you can keep for your own daughter or daughters to try on. Because I remember I tried on my mom's wedding dress when I was like probably 12 years old or 13 years old. And there's no way I'd be fitting in it now. My mom was tiny. But
that's the other thing. It's like, what are the odds? I know, like, it's, genetics and whatever, but still, what are the odds that you're going to get married at the same size and shape as your mom did?
Yeah, not very likely, especially when my mom was like one of 7 children, and so she didn't eat much.
Remember how Australia was one of the very first countries in the world to ban teenagers from social media?
Yes, yep.
8772 Radio U, or the talkback button in the new Radio U app. Australia has banned users, they passed a law banning users under the age of 16 from using TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, Snapchat, YouTube, Reddit, and Kick and Twitch. That was a few months ago. According to a new survey, it doesn't seem to be working.
It's not working.
A company called Youth Insight conducted a survey of 12 to 15-year-olds in Australia. They talked to over 1,000 of them. Granted, the survey was conducted online, which definitely seems like that would skew the sample a little bit.
Seems counterintuitive.
But what it found was, of these about 1,000 12 to 15-year-olds in Australia, which should be banned from all those social media apps and sites we just listed, still about 60% said they had still been on social media. 60% of children, or I guess teens, who said they were social media users before the ban, still have been on social media since the ban.
Wow.
Yeah, so not necessarily working completely anyway.
Yeah, not making entirely a huge difference, but it is still making a dent. And so I feel like it's still probably worth it, you know?
Yeah, I think this, at first brush, you see like, over 50% of users that were supposed to be banned are still using it.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound great. But like we said, there could be a little bit of a sample bias by conducting the survey online in the first place. And you still think that means 40% that were using it before are not able to use it.
Yeah.
And this is definitely one of those things where I think over time, the longer the ban stays in effect, the less likely you would be as a 12 to 15-year-old, because you're not growing up with it. These are kids that were already on it.
Yeah, and so it's hard for them to go cold turkey. But if you are raising kids with the expectation that, just like when you get a driver's license at 16, if you're raising them with the expectation that at 16, that's when you finally get social media, then very few of them are going to go ahead and break that rule if all of their friends are just expecting to live that way too.
Yeah, I do. I have, like, diving into this a little bit, and I remember reading about this before too, is that it's in part the reason that so many are still on it is because I guess the companies haven't done a particularly good job of enforcing it.
Sure.
TikTok, Facebook, whatever. And also, like, they found ways around.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Which there's always going to be, you're talking about 12 to 15-year-olds. You think they're not going to be tech savvy enough to, if they're really motivated, figure it out? Well, many of them
are not supposed to be on social media anyways, because they ask you if you're 13 or whatever. And so if they're getting it at 11 or 12, then they're clearly lying already. But these kids, they know how to work around. But again, eventually I think we'll see that number go down.
How old were you when you got your first social media account?
I was 13. My mom allowed me to get Facebook when I was 13. Yep. My 13th birthday, I got it.
I was 12.
You were 12 when you got Facebook?
I was 12 and I lied. I
lied
and got I lied on the account and said I was 13 when I wasn't.
Yeah.
Because all of my friends were older than me growing up. So all of them were on it. And so one of my friends was like, just say you're old enough. And so I did. And then when my mom found out, she was not happy.
Oh.
That was big trouble for me. We got some wild news in baseball over the weekend. the evening directly following, the very same day that the Red Sox had beaten the Orioles 17-1.
The bats finally woke up.
Yeah. The Red Sox fired their manager, Alex Cora, and a good portion of the rest of their coaching staff.
Yeah.
8772 Radio U or the talkback button in the new Radio U app. It was a shocking move, but in a sense, understandable because the Red Sox have gotten off to a poor start. Even despite that 17-1 win, they were still 10-17 on the season.
Yeah.
Not particularly good, definitely not meeting expectations, but it did kind of come out of nowhere because Alex Cora is considered one of the better managers in the league, I would say. But since he got fired, he is not acting like a person that just got fired.
We'll just put it that way.
He posted out on his social media. He literally, after being fired, literally posted a tweet that was just said "happy" with a happy emoji. So
definitely what a happy person would do.
Yeah. He also sent out like on his socials a picture of him and all the staff that had been fired all together. He posted a video of when Mookie Betts had gotten traded from the Red Sox.
Reminiscing.
Yeah. So all that to say, it seems that Alex Cora may be a bit relieved to not be the Red Sox manager anymore.
Either that or he's sharing things that are supposed to be like spiting them.
Yeah.
You know, like clearly they don't make good decisions. They got rid of Mookie and now they've gotten rid of me.
Right.
You know, and then also the I'm happy part. It's like, I don't even know what that's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think he's relieved to not have to deal with this and anymore.
Well, as you said, I think the Red Sox definitely needed to make a change because it wasn't working. Whatever they were doing wasn't working. Was Alex Cora the problem? I don't necessarily know if I would say he was.
He's a World Series winning manager, but watching the Red Sox all these years like I have, I liked Alex Cora, but there's also so many times that he does stuff that makes me scratch my head. And I was talking to the Red Sox fan at 8772 Radio U this morning that over the years, some things that he should be helping with have not gotten better.
Okay.
Red Sox fielding is routinely a problem.
Yeah.
And so you could say that's the players that they put on the roster, and I think that's partly true. But at the same time,
they had Devers for a long time.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to necessarily improve with a lot of these guys. And this year, the hitting's been a big issue as well. And so I think that is partly roster construction, but is he elevating them? And so I don't think he's been there for a long time. I don't think it's the worst idea, but I also don't think he's necessarily the one to blame for the issues. So I said to that person too, gosh darn it, I can't remember.
Was it Jim?
No, not Jim. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Thomas is my Red Sox fan I was talking with. I said to him, there's still time to turn around the season.
Yeah.
And, Cora won't be unemployed long, but that doesn't mean that this won't possibly be a positive move.
Yeah. I think, we've seen plenty of teams where they had a season that was falling apart, and then they make a manager change and they turn things around. I think of the Phillies from a few years ago when they switched out managers. I can't remember who they got, but I think he's still with the team now. They completely turned things around. I mean, went from like last place in their division to like, battling for first place in their division. So this can invigorate the lineup, and get them excited to play baseball again. Because baseball's a game. You need to be having fun to go out there and just play loose. Now, and that's what helps you win.
That's my concern, is that a lot of the initial reporting about the players is that
they're not happy.
The management did not really answer questions about this. And a lot of the players definitely liked Alex Cora. So it kind of feels like
maybe it
comes from the top. The ownership has long been criticized in Boston because they're the reason we traded Mookie in the first place.
Right. But maybe it could turn into a major league situation.
Yeah, that's right.
You never know.
Yeah. I mean, they won a World Series with this current ownership, so it can be done. Believe it or not, according to a new study, voting might help you live longer.
What?
8772 Radio U or the talkback button in the new Radio U app. It's an election year. The best thing you can do, possibly for your health, get out there and vote. Because this is a study done by the University of Pennsylvania they were looking at people who voted in the 2008 election. They found, or I guess they were looking at people generally, but they found that people, in regards to the 2008 election, if they voted, they were 45% less likely to die versus people who didn't vote, to die versus in the first 5 years.
Okay.
They were 37% less likely to pass away in the 10 years since 2008.
Okay.
And 29% less likely within 15 years, which would be, about the data we'd have because that's 2023. So the people who voted were less across the board, less likely to die in the time since 2008 than people who didn't vote in that election.
Okay.
I don't know if you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking, Allie, but I was thinking, well, maybe that makes sense because the people who are more likely to vote probably more likely to be possibly wealthier, more educated, because I feel like those are the people more likely to vote because, what are you voting on? You're voting on your money. You don't want, you want to keep your money from being taxed maybe or whatever. But they controlled in the study for wealth, education, and pre-existing health status that they had. So
did they control for age?
No, but that was, these are already, they had, I guess, yes. The answer is yes.
Okay. So, it says new study tracking older adults over a decade and a half. Do we know what the older adults means? What do they mean by older adults?
I don't know I don't have that right in front of me of what age was their cutoff, because obviously, if you were including all 20-year-olds that would have voted, they're probably pretty unlikely to die in any of that time frame.
Okay.
So these are people that are already that you might have expected to have a possibility of dying.
It says
in
it
this
was
time frame.
There was about 7,708 eligible respondents who were in their mid-60s at the time of the 2008 election. So that they were in their mid-60s in 2008.
Right.
So now they'd be, in their 80s, maybe late 70s, depending on what age they were at in 2008.
Mm-hmm. And because they voted, they're still with us. The ones who voted survived.
I think that might be a bit of a stretch, but as we've said before, you can find a study to back up anything that you would like to say pretty much.
It seems that counterintuitive to me, because I feel that as somebody who does follow politics out of morbid curiosity and vote in a lot of elections, it seems stressful. It seems like it would age you and make you die.
That's what the thing I was thinking too. I was like, I feel like politics have only gotten worse since 2008. So I don't really know what this study is saying, but I feel like I get stressed out about it. But I also do think there is something to being involved and not apathetic.
This is what I was thinking.
That does make you more engaged. And they say when you're more engaged in your community and what's happening around you, the longer you will live.
Right.
Because it's like you have something to give yourself
You have motivation, for your body and mind to keep going. And so that's what I was thinking, especially because they were focusing on older folks, is that once you get to a certain age, you just need stuff to be interested in to occupy, and you're retired and stuff.
Right.
And so these people, they had, you think they care more about their community because they're voting. So they care about who's actually the mayor of their town.
Right.
Because they want their town to do well.
Right.
And so there's definitely something to that. And so I think at the end of the day, I guess, get out there and vote. Either way, I'm going to encourage people to vote.
Also, same here. No matter what your age, you should just go vote.
Even though it can be stressful. But you could also find what I found, which is that eventually you realize that even if the bad people win, the people you don't like, it can only... It's probably not going to be a whole lot worse than it already is.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be much different.
You've been through the times with the bad people in charge, and you lived through it.
And you are still here. Thanks for listening to the RadioU Podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the show.